In this world, I've built a village, a lush cave, complete with amazing house, and no, I won't be changing it. This nether hub, and I've even beaten the wither to make a beacon. However, there is something that I've never done in all my years of playing Minecraft, and that's conquering an ancient city. So how about we change that? But before I go in, I'm going to need to do a little bit of preparation, like a few extra totems in case I make a mistake, an anvil on the off chance I find Swift Sneak, craft a few more golden apples, and I think that should do it for my gear. I'm also going to need a ton of wool. That's about the only thing I know when it comes to an ancient city, is that wool blocks sound. That should be enough to start with. I'm also going to want some night vision potions, because without the magic of editing, it's actually this dark. So yeah, night vision potions. And I think I'm ready. What makes this doubly scary is that I don't have an elytra for a quick escape. And while I could go and get one, where's the fun in that? So I'll give this a drink and, oh, so much better. Right, let's go. I'll need to deal with those first. Okay, don't uncrouch. Lesson learned. Now, am I okay to crouch jump? Okay, good. I think if I build up, I can try and surround these a bit easier. So I should be safe to remove this one. Okay, or not. I'll surround the Shrieker as much as possible. It shouldn't aggro from this. Never mind then. That's the third activation, but it looks like I'm okay. Oh, it was that one at the bottom. Right, let's try a different approach. I'll surround these as much as I can. It should reduce the risk of me accidentally triggering them. Oh no, that made noise. Am I good? Oh, no, time to leave. Yep, very much time to leave. So I don't think he knows where I am. Oh look, you can see him in the gap. He's definitely not aggroed to me. What do I do now? Do I just have to wait for him to leave? I'm gonna push my luck a little bit and get closer. Well, he's sniffing. I don't know what that means. I guess while I wait for him to leave, I'll try and get rid of a few more of the sensors and shriekers. He's still here. Maybe it's a range thing and I need to move further away for him to despawn. Oh, I think that might have been it. Yeah, the heartbeat stopped. I think he's gone now. Right, back to securing the area. Okay, looks like this little bit is clear. So I think I can open up my first chest. And garbage. Oh well. Next I'll start clearing that way for the chest. And what do we have here? Oh, perfect. Slap that right on the leggings. So how much faster do you actually move? Oh, okay. That is considerably faster. Now to clear the rest of the city. Another chest? What do we have here then? Oh, that is exactly what you want to see. Now I can max out Swift Sneak on my leggings. And we are absolutely zooming. Oh, that's not good. Where is it? Luckily it didn't summon one. But where is the Shrieker? Ah, oh, please tell me it's not in the ground. That would be horrible. It's not on top of the arches. Is it on top of one of the pillars? That would be a no. So it's definitely under the floor. How am I even going to do this? I guess I'll just have to trigger it and hope I can find it in time. Nope. Okay, it's not here. Not here either. Oh. Ah, gotcha. There you are. That was so sneaky. Let's hope that that doesn't happen again. Whoops. Oh, come on, that's not fair. Oh, had to run. And with that, I do believe that's the whole city cleared. There are a couple chests that I haven't grabbed yet, so I'll go get those. Here's the first one. We've got Swift Sneak and some books. Oh, an enchanted golden apple. That's my first one of these. And then the second chest. Oh, 2 golden apples in the same chest. That's gotta be rare. I've been thinking, now that I've conquered the ancient city, I'd like to claim it as my own. However, before making it my own, I'm really curious as to how the city looked back in its prime. So to achieve that, I'll need to remove all of the sculk from the structures. Then I will be able to start restoring them back to a non-ruined state. And I think it makes the most sense to start with the walkways that snake through the ancient city. So down here, I'll begin removing the sculk. There we go, that's the first section of walkway cleared of sculk. I'll head back up top and grab some cyan wool and some dark grey wool. Now I can begin repairing the walkway. And with the wool pathways finished, I can start on repairing the wall. Looking at it, it seems to follow a pattern, with the bottom and top rows alternating between chiselled and tiled, and the middle consisting of 3 bricks, a tiled, a polished, and then mirrored on the other side. Next to the supports, and they're a pretty simple design, it's just what we've got here, with an extra deep slate pillar, like so. Up top, I'll go along and repair the overhang. For the sides, I'll just match the spacing of the blocks that are already here. And there we have the first section repaired. Now, here in this gap is where one of these towers should be. But it looks as though it's generated inside of one of these columns, and that means it has to go. I think I'll also remove what remains of this column, because with it gone, I can extend out the base and then connect the pathway to the middle. But I'm now running very low on resources, so I think now's a good time to go restock. With the amount of deep slate I'm going to need to mine, I'm grabbing my beacon. Definitely going to need more than this for a full beacon. I do have all of these ores that I've collected throughout playing, so I could see how far that gets me. I may have been a bit ambitious with that. It's not even close. I'll grab some produce, do a bit of trading with my villagers. Right, desperate times call for desperate measures. I don't want to have to do this, but I'm going to have to resort to some unethical methods to get my emeralds. So I'll need a few leads, a couple boats, and a fermented spider eye. And I'll use that spider eye for some splash potions of weakness. You can probably tell where this is going. I'll gather up a few villagers, drag them outside, then wait for nighttime, bait a zombie over, and wait for the magic to happen. Now that they've turned, I'll throw the splash potion and feed them the golden apples. Now we get slightly better trades. Hooray. And this should be the last few blocks I need for the beacon. I head back up top and start digging down to give it sky access. And there we have a haste 2 beacon, and I can mine deep slate so much faster. Now that that's sorted, I can start building the tower in this gap. And based off the other one, it's got a pillar of basalt in the centre, some laid down dark oak logs, then a floor of dark oak planks, a few fences. In the corners, a cobbled deep slate and some walls. The roof is just a small arch, like that. Then I'll add the ladders and a couple torches, and yeah, that looks about right. And with that, the first section is restored. Next up, I want to repair these pillars and fix up this central walkway. So again, I'll start by removing the sculk, so I've got a clean slate to work with. Now that the sculk's gone, this is what we're left with. And to start with, I want to fix whatever's happened here, because I'm pretty sure this is all supposed to be at the same height. So I'll just start at this end, and I'll level it all out. Right, now that it's leveled out, I can start repairing it. I've run out of basalt. Okay, there we go. That's the base of all the arches complete. Next is the arches themselves, and they look comprised of a polished deep slate, a deep slate brick, a few deep slate tiles, and upside down stairs. There we go. That's the look. Now for the rest of them. Now, I'll set about repairing the pillars with some stairs, followed by some polished deep slate, then a pattern of chiseled, tiled, chiseled, and continue that up. Up here, some upside down stairs, a couple walls, a lantern, and that's one restored pillar. Now to do the rest. Alright, that's all of the pillars repaired. And lastly, I'm going to connect these two walkways to the centre. And there you have it. With that, the middle pathway is complete. And yeah, now that it's restored, it looks quite nice. On to the next section, which is this area. And it's just going to be more of the same, so I'll make it quick. There you go. Now, you might have noticed something. Ow, this section of pathway moved during the cut, because I noticed that I could line it up with the walkway on this side, so I'll eventually carve out a hole for them to connect through. Right, with that all said and done, the next area I want to work on is the centre, and it will start the same as all the others by removing the skull. What is that? What is this place? Oh, is this supposed to be a redstone tutorial? Or like an introduction to redstone mechanics? Yeah, it must be, because you got the lectern signal going to the comparator to turn on the lamp. Why would Mojang hide something so integral in one of the last places people are likely to go? Just Mojang things, I guess. Now I'll just go around and fill in all the gaps. Next up, I'll repair the lights. Start with a redstone lamp, then a sculk sensor, surround it with chiseled bricks, then waterlog it. Now it still activates without making any noise. Then some upside down stairs, a few bits of polished deep slate, and it's done. Now I'll just build the other one. So that's the center restored, complete with automatic lights, a disappointing fake portal. I will never forgive Mojang for not giving this a use. Anyway, now that the center's done, it's time to finish off the rest of the pathways. So we've got this one, that one, and this one. But this is all pathway restoration, all things you've already seen. So let's speed through this. So we've got 1, 2, and 3. Right, with all the pathways done, it's starting to look really different down here. And to add to that, I'd like to start working on the structures that are dotted around the outside. Seeing as we're here, I'll start with this one. And just like everything else, the first step is removing the sculk. Then I'll repair the pillars, replace the floor, lastly the roof, and done. A quick fix, as there wasn't much wrong with it. Now for that thing. I think it's a little shrine, but there's loads of these around, so this one can go. Next is this bigger shrine. It looks in pretty bad condition, but I would like to save it. Again, you get the idea. Remove the sculk. Now that the sculk's gone, it doesn't actually look that bad. So I'll replace the floor. Then you've got this little warden head in the middle. Nice. Here, there should be a second pillar. And that's all there is to it. It looks a lot better. Next, we have this mess. And while it is a complete mess, I would like to restore it. So I'll fill the floor in with brick and the walls with cobbled deep slate. That's pretty much it. Now, we have this side. I've already repaired one of these big shrines, so I don't really feel like I need another one. So goodbye. And it leaves me with a nice big space for activities. Next on the list, the big freezer. Desculkify it, then I can repair the floor with deep slate tile, walls with cobbled deep slate, and the corners with brick. That's more like it. Over the other side, we've got 3 shrines, and as I mentioned before, we have enough shrines already, so these 3 can be binned, leaving us with even more space. Then there's this thing, and I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it's cool and unique, so it gets to stay. Another altar, but this time I'm actually going to keep this one. There you go, that brushed up nicely. Now for that. And I already have one of these back at the entrance, so I don't really want another one. Time for a couple towers. Ooh, looks like we got a geode here. This gives me an idea. If I crack it in half, I can have an open geode as decoration. There we go. That is a nice bit of decoration. Right, back to restoring this. And there we have 2 restored towers. Onto the last area, but they're all repeats, so let's get through this quickly. So this goes from broken to repaired, from completely ruined to restored, and from whatever state this is to a pile of rubble. Right, with that, everything has been restored. And while it certainly looks impressive, it's a tad plain. So, now that I've conquered and restored the city, how about I transform it? And I was thinking similarly to what I did up top, where I built housing for specific types of villagers. I could do that again, except this time do it down here. And I was thinking of making houses for the mason, the butcher, the cleric, and the shepherd. Before I can do any of that though, I need to get some materials. That should be enough to start with. I want to keep the same design style that I used for all the buildings up here, and this looks like a good place to start. I think I'll do the mason's house first. I'll start laying out some spruce pillars. Like this. So here will be the entrance, and I've left this space for a chimney. Now I'll fill in the wall with the same andesite, diorite, and calcite that I used in the village up top. Next, I'll make an overhang. I'll add some upside down stairs to turn these into arches. I'll lay out some pillars for the second floor. For the walls, I want to do something a little bit different. Up top, I use stripped birch logs, but this time I want to use birch planks instead to give it a bit of different texture. Before I build any higher, I need to figure out the shape of this chimney, as it will influence how I build the roof, and that's going to require some bricks. I should have some leftover clay somewhere from the lush cave build. Aha! And while I'm up here, I'll also grab some granite. Let's clear some space for it. I want the base to be quite wide. And then here, I'll cut off the corners and continue it up. I'll use stairs to flare at the top. It's missing something. How about I replace some bricks with granite? That's more like it. Next up is more overhangs that will start with some upside down stairs. I'll then lay some spruce log on top and connect the rest with dark oak stairs. Now I can start framing out the roof arches. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, that works for me. Now for the rest. For the roof itself, I'll use deep slate and blackstone, then just alternate between the two, and I'll just continue building it up. And there's the roof finished. Now that I have the outer shell of the building complete, I can start adding a bit of decoration. And I think I'll start by replacing this middle section with walls to give it a more textured appearance. Then at the bottom I'll add a couple stairs. I could also add some trapdoors like this, and then maybe add some signs underneath it and finish it off with a spruce trapdoor. I like how that looks, so I'll repeat it on the other pillars. Up here, I'd like to use a similar design to the library on the surface, with a dark oak windowsill, wrapping the pillar in signs and trapdoors. Then making an arch out of upside down stairs and another trapdoor. A couple buttons, and between the logs, I was thinking fence gate, fence gate, and I can hang a lantern off of it. Now for the attic section, and I think I'll just fill this entire wall in with planks. Then, in this space, I'll build just a basic window. That looks horrible. Let's try that again. Yeah, that's good enough, I guess. So, with the exterior of the building being pretty much complete, time to focus on the interior. And first, I'll replace this floor, the one made with stone brick. Now, I'll go around and break it as randomly as possible, so I can start texturing it with some stairs, some mossy brick, and some mossy stairs. Before I can start decorating, this room needs a ceiling, so I'll build a staircase and start filling it in. So to start with, I'd like to build out some storage in this corner, and I'll use spruce logs, actually stripped spruce logs. Then I'll make some shelves out of upside down stairs. I'll place some single chests along the bottom and some sideways empty bookshelves across the top, like that. I'll just expand it along this wall as well. I think that turned out alright. Now, I should have some leftover bricks somewhere. Ah, there they are. And I believe I can turn these into, decorated pots. Then I'll just stack these in the corner and then make for some nice decoration. I could also expand this shelf and use it for more pot storage. Ooh, yeah, I like that. In this corner, I'll build a raised platform and I'll just fill it with a load of different blocks. And along this wall, I'll place their workstations. And lastly, I'll fix up this side of the chimney. Nice. So that about does it for down here. Now for the first floor. Just like before, I'll start by building out the ceiling. I want to separate this space into multiple bedrooms, and I'll go around and mark them with spruce logs. So each of these will be their own room, and I'll encase the first one with some spruce planks. Then I'll build a bed. That looks quite cozy. I'll fill the rest of the room with some storage, a decorative table, and a hanging lantern. That should do it. For the next room, I'll start by building a wardrobe. Then I'll build the same kind of bed. Lovely. Maybe a little study desk. Like so. And then in this corner, a table and chairs. And that'll do for this room. This next room is quite small, so I think I'll just put a bed and a table in here. That should do. This last room is even smaller, so I think I can just fit a bed in here. Next is the hallway. I'll use some bookshelves, a few barrels, maybe a couple note blocks. And yeah, that looks pretty nice. I'll also line the ceiling with dark oak slabs and a couple lanterns for light. I do feel like it could use some carpet though. Yeah, that adds so much to it. For the bit above the stairs, I'll fence it off and then fill this back area with an assortment of different blocks. Over here, I'll build a way into the loft. Now this space is just going to be used for storage, so I'll place down some chests, some crafting tables, stone cutters, note blocks, empty bookshelves, and barrels. That should do for up here. Lastly, I'll add some windows and campfires. And there we go. That is the mason's house complete. I did go a little bit over the top. I just figured in a city made of stone, the masons would probably have the biggest house. Anyway, next up, the butcher's. And it makes the most sense to have it here because of the inbuilt fridge. First things first, I need to move the stairs from this side to this side. Okay, now I'm left with a space that makes a bit more sense. Next, I'd like to change this big old slab of wall into something a bit more interesting. To do that, I'll remove a layer of the wall and replace it with deep slate tile and brick. Then in the center, I could put some walls. Next to it, I'll clear some more space. I want to give this the appearance of an arch, so I'll build another pillar. I'll use more walls in the center and some stairs. It just adds some much needed depth. Now I'll repeat this pattern all the way around. Okay, that's the foundation complete, and it's turned out way better than I expected. Now it's time to build the butcher's itself. Like usual, I'll start with some overhangs. Here, I'll create a slightly larger overhang. It should help the building feel less boxy. Now, like all of my buildings, time for some spruce pillars. Next, I'll connect the pillars and start building out the walls. Now, I can frame out the roof. Ah, there's something in the way. But before I start removing it, I'm gonna go grab my beacon to help speed this up. Okay, now I just need to give it sky access. So if I head back up top, I can then dig down. Wait, what? How did I mess that up so badly? I'm miles off. Oh, it's 200, not 300. It was a whole 100 blocks off. Right, let's try that again. Okay, so it should be around here. Ooh. Okay. That definitely made me jump. Now I'll clear this section. And I can start building the roof. Now for the interior, I'll quickly build out a ceiling. Because this is a butcher's, I want to decorate it as such. And I've had a few ideas, I've also seen a few things that I want to try. So I'll go grab some blocks, some netherrack, some nether quartz, maybe some nether wart. Oh, I forgot I had this. I don't remember if it made it into the video, but I bought this off a wandering trader back during episode 1. But mangrove log could make for some interesting meat textures. I'll also grab some chains and what little red terracotta I have. Now, if I grow this mangrove tree... Oh, that's a big one. But if I take the logs, this one looks like raw meat, and this one looks like cooked meat. Also, if I smelt up the red terracotta, I get this red glazed terracotta that kind of looks like meat. Okay, let's get building. Because this is a butcher's, I imagine there would need to be some kind of sterile looking flooring. Now if I go along and hang up all the blocks, it looks like a load of different meats being dried. Maybe add some redstone on the floor. There could also be some food processing machines, and I can make one with a smoker, a loom, piece of nether quartz, and some trapdoors, and it ends up looking a bit like a mincer. Here I'll put another one. In this corner I can make a produce stand. On this side I could add a cutting apparatus, like that, and in the center I'll make another slightly larger cutting machine. And lastly, in the basement fridge area, I'll hang some more meat and finish it off with a bit of redstone. So that's the freezer done, and the butcher's done. All that's left is to add some details to the exterior. And with that, the butcher's is complete. Now time to build somewhere for the shepherds. And I think this space will do. And I'll build them a little farmhouse right here. There you have it, a small farmhouse. Now I just need to decorate the interior. So I'll replace the floor with stone brick, mossy cobble, and polished andesite. In this little nook, I'll build a kitchen with some barrels, a lectern. No, that's the wrong way around. Try it from this side, like that. Then a campfire with a furnace on top, smoker on either side, and a brewing stand. I think here I'll build a small kitchen island. Over here a bookcase, and a little desk. Then lastly a bed. And that's the shepherd's house completed. Now last on the list is the cleric. Now what do you think when you see this? I think magic. So I'm going to lean into the magical aesthetic and replace these towers with wizard towers. Replace does mean that I need to get rid of them first. Okay, I'll plot out the base of the tower. And around this base I think I'll place some stairs. And then I can start building the walls up. Between these blocks I'll place black stone walls. Up top I'll make a rim of spruce log. Actually I think stripped spruce would look better. I'll take it up a block and then make another overhang. Now I can start building out the first floor walls. And you guessed it, another overhang. Up here I want to do the usual pointed wizard hat style roof, but I want it to have like a bluish purple gradient to it, which means I need some blocks. Let's grab some crimson stem, maybe some warped stem as well. Another good block to get would be some terracotta, as it can be dyed numerous different colours. So I'll head to my Badlands. That'll probably be enough for the moment. Now I'll craft up some blue terracotta, purple terracotta, and magenta terracotta. Up on the roof, I'll start by laying a ring of warped stem. I'll follow that up with a ring of smooth stone slabs, another of warped stem, and one of black stone slabs. Let's see how this looks. Oh, that doesn't look right. That looks more octagonal than circular. Oh, I see what I've done wrong. Right, time to tear it down and start again. There we go. That looks more like a circle. Now I can take it up with a layer of blue terracotta. Actually, I think I'll replace a few bits of the stem with the blue terracotta to help smooth out the colour transition. Then I'll do a couple layers of crimson planks. I'll continue up with some purple terracotta and start mixing in some magenta terracotta. I'll top this off with cherry logs. I think that turned out quite well. Now I want to add some more detail to the outside. I'll open up some windows, place some spruce fencing around the outside. I could also make some hanging lights, like so, and then do more of those all the way around. I'll also add a few redstone lamps. I'll tear up this floor, replace it with the usual stone and mossy stone. In the centre, I'll build a circular staircase. Fill out the floor. Then around the top here, I'll trim this with some upside down stairs. I'll carve out the middle here and replace it with walls. Then hang a lantern in the corner. Back up here, I'll also trim this edge with upside down stairs. And then fill the rest of the space in. Add a fence and another lantern. To start the decoration, I'll build a desk. Then add the brewing stands and maybe a lantern in the middle. Some barrels and bookshelves. Then I'll place their beds so they've got somewhere to sleep. Build some shelves. And I think that about does it for in here. Now I just need to build another one of these over on this side. And there you have it, 2 wizard towers. The interior is exactly the same as the other one. I did change the colour of the roof. I went with a more red theme with nether bricks, red nether brick, nether rack, mangrove planks, and cherry wood. I also uncovered another geode, which is really adding to the magical feeling we've got going on here. But with that, all of the villager houses are complete. That being said, it still feels quite lifeless down here. One way to change that would be to bring some life down here. The easiest of which would be to replace this deep slate with grass. So I need to go get some of that. Let's see how far this gets me. Oh. Okay, serves me right for not paying attention. So because my beacon's still here, I'll do the area around the farmhouse first. I'll start by removing all of this stone. Now that we've got some space, I can begin laying out the grass. Now, it wouldn't be a very good shepherd's if it didn't have any pens, so I'll quickly set up a couple. Next up, I'd like to build a path, so I'll dig out a 5 wide channel. Then at the end, I'll just have it kind of fade out. For the path, I'm going to make it out of the same materials that I used up on the surface. I think it's 2 wide. Yeah, I think 3 wide will be enough. Then I can add blocks to the side of the path to give it depth. Oh, no, that looks horrible. Okay, better idea. I will snake the path instead. Yeah, there we go. That looks way nicer. Actually, looking at this path has given me a much better idea for the pens. So let's get rid of these, and I'll build it out of the same materials I used for the path. Yes, that is much better. For decoration, I'll add some hay bales. I'll also go around and replace some of this grass with coarse dirt, as well as turn some of it into path blocks. The animals are going to want water, so I'll build a trough. I think that does it for the pen. To finish off this area, I'll go around and bone meal some grass. And that's the shepherd's side complete. Must admit, it's turned out much nicer than I expected. Now it's just time to repeat it on the butcher's side. In this section, I'm actually going to build up the land a bit, otherwise this area would look too flat. Yeah, that's more like it. Like before, I'll dig out a section and build a path. In this space, because it's next to the butchers, I imagine they would also need somewhere to keep animals. So I'll start building another pen, complete with water trough and hay bales. I'll grass up the area with some bone meal. With all that, it looks miles better. The last thing I want to do is change up the walkway a bit. I want to create one of these openings around here. I'll start by opening this bit up. Then it needs a staircase on both sides. And to finish it off, some lanterns. And there we go. Now there's a better way to get across. And with that, I think we can call this whole area finished. Next up is the area around the mason's house. This will start the same as all the others by removing the stone. Then placing the grass, building the path, and bone mealing the grass. Even with all of this, it still feels a bit too empty. So what if at the end here, I built a well? It's just a little something to add to the look. I could also make some small bushes and just dot those around the area. What are they doing? This is just sad, but I will take the free slime. Thank you. So this side is done, onto this side, and by now you get the idea. Remove the stone, place the grass, build the path. The main difference is that here I'd like to build a pond. I'll add some slabs for added texture. I'll start filling it with water. Right, that's not quite gone as planned. I'll use kelp to turn it into source blocks, like that. I'll add some stairs to give it even more texture. Dot some sea pickles around. And it's time for the water grass. I'll go around and add some bushes, pink petals, and bone meal. Last thing I'd like to do is create an opening here, so I can get from one side to the other a bit easier. And I do believe with that, I can call this section complete. Next up, I'd like to have a go at redesigning this tower thing. And like all good redesigns, it will start with me demolishing the original. Ah, I forgot to grab resources. I don't have any. Bear with me a moment. Right, where was I? Ah yes, I'll extend this bit all the way across. I'll add stairs along the front of each side. In the corners, I'll pillar up 5, and then connect each pillar with a small arch. Off the pillars, I'll hang some upside down stairs, do a layer of dark oak stairs, and another layer of spruce, which gives us this. So I'll repeat this on the other corners. I'll fill this top section in with dark oak slabs and add a row of trapdoors across the front. I'll hang a lantern in the centre and add some stairs to the arches. I think I'll also hang some lanterns on the outside corners. And there you have the redesigned tower thing. Now I'd like to have a go at improving this central walkway. The start will be the same as everything else, so 3, 2, 1. There we go, I've covered the area in grass. Now for the fun part. First thing I want to do is redesign this pathway, because, I mean, just look at it. So to start that, I'll mine a channel at the middle. Then I'd like to make a pattern. So what if I use 2 polished deep slate, a chiseled deep slate, and then replace the blocks either side of the chiseled with bricks, and then repeat that all the way down. That looks better, but there is something else I'd like to add. What if I replace one of the chiseled with a redstone lamp, and then I can do that for every second chiseled? There we go, a little splash of light and some different colour. With these sections here that are dotted between, I was actually thinking of turning these into some pools, so I'll dig this one out. Like with the pond, I'll add some slabs for texture, start filling it with water. I'll add some sea pickles and water grass. Maybe a couple vines around the outside, and a few bushes growing on the edge. Yeah, I think that looks good. It has a jungly feel to it. Oh, hang on. I have these coloured coral blocks, and I wonder if they would look good inside of the pool. Yeah, that's the bit of colour I needed. I'll have to go get some more though, so I'll head over to my wall motion. This should hopefully be enough. Now that I have some more coral, I'll finish off this pool. So I'll keep this one as being multicoloured, and I'll have each of the other pools being an individual colour. There we go, that's all 6 pools finished, and they just add some much needed colour down here. I've also got this space here, just behind the middle pathway, that I think I'll build a small mound on. Then I'll plant a cherry tree. Oh, look at that, massive one first try. I can then hang some lanterns off of it and cover the ground in petals. I'll do my usual decoration of grass and bushes. Just a nice little cherry tree in the corner. I'd like to do something with these pillars around the outside, and I was thinking of replacing this deep slate with soul sand and adding a rim of upside down stairs. You can't really see it. What if I raise the middle up? It looks a bit too big. Instead, let's try this. Yeah, I think that's good enough. I'll repeat it on the rest of them. So that's all of the pillars done, and I think that means I can call this middle section complete. Now, onto the shrine area. To the surprise of absolutely no one, this will also start with me removing the stone, placing the grass, building the path, adding some bushes, and using bone meal. With all the normal stuff taken care of, I left these end bits for a cemetery, because we're right next to this temple shrine thing. I'll go for a simple headstone design. Something like that. I wanted to stress the area a bit, so I'll turn some of this into path blocks. I'll also replace some with podzol and coarse dirt. For a bit of decoration, I'll add a plant pot with a flower, some bone meal to make the area look a bit unkempt, and I think it looks perfect for what I'm going for, so I'll add a few more of them to both sides. I'm liking how that turned out. Now I need to replace this with the same design I did down there. 3, 2, 1, boom. There we go. Now back to something I mentioned earlier, which is connecting these two walkways. With that done, I'm now left with this archway that I can connect the walkways through. Okay, let's see how that looks. Ah, the arch looks comically small now. Right, let's fix that. There we go. That looks much better. Onto this next bit. And I have a ton of space, but no more houses to build. So instead of building something, why don't I turn this area into a big flower garden? And gardens, well, they require grass. I want to make the path a big loop all the way through the garden. So it will start here and snake all the way up to there. From there, it will come down through here, under this arch, then continue onwards, under this arch, where it will then go and connect back up to the start. So I'll get started on that. Now for the flowers. I don't have any. Fortunately, I remember seeing a flower forest back near Spawn. I've not been here in a while, and if memory serves me right, it should be just over there. There it is. So I'll grab an assortment of different flowers. Oh, that's the new firefly bush. Definitely grab a few of those. This should be enough for the time being. On the way back, I had a thought. I could also use some of these cactus flowers. I also have these eye blossoms from the Pale Garden that I'd like to use. And with all that, time to start decorating. It's looking nice. I think I'll also add a few cherry trees, some pink petals, and bushes. And I think that should do it for this first section of the flower garden. Now onto this section, and I'd like it to have an orange and red colour scheme. I'll start with some firefly bushes. Then I'll use the rest of my eye blossoms. I'll do some patches of orange tulips, as well as some patches of red tulips. And I'll dot round some rose bushes. With this being so orange, hang on, I could grow some acacia trees. Yeah, I think they would fit nicely. And that's the orangey themed section completed. Onto the next area, and I think this one could have a pink theme. Again, I'll start with some firefly bushes, add some groups of these peonies, as well as a few groups of lilacs, some alliums, cactus flowers, cherry trees, and some cherry bushes. And that's the pink flower garden finished. Now onto the last section, which will be a white flower section. Again, it will start with some firefly bushes, followed by some patches of these things, then some white tulips, my lilies of the valley, and oxeye daisies. And for the trees, I think pale oak would fit nicely. I'll finish it off with some bushes, and there you have it, the white section of the flower garden. With that, the whole flower garden is done. The only thing left to do is replace this with the upgraded version. Now over to the cleric side, and of course, it's going to need grass. So with that out of the way, I've been thinking about how I want to decorate this area, and taking inspiration from the amethysts and wizard towers, I want to turn it into a magical amethyst area. And as the name would imply, I need to get some amethyst to build with. So I'll go gather what's left from my previous clusters. This should do for now. As for what I'm going to build, I've been inspired by this natural crack here and would like to build a geode fissure here. So I'll carve out some space, line the outside with basalt, remove a layer, and add an outline of calcite, drop it down another layer, and fill it with amethyst. I'll also sprinkle in some amethyst clusters, and it's starting to look quite nice. I'll just blend it into the terrain a bit, as well as using different blocks to add texture. And there it is. I'm surprised with how well that turned out. I also have this little alcove bit, and I could fill it with a cylindrical geode. So I'll get started on that. And there you have it, a cave geode. So I have a bit of space here, and with it I'll build a small mound and grow a cherry tree on it. Ah, I wanted it to grow in the other direction. Let's try that again. That's more like it. And with this tree, I'd like to make it look like the amethyst is taking over by replacing parts with basalt and amethyst. Around the base, I'd like to give it some amethyst roots, I'll then decorate it with some pink petals and amethyst clusters. And there it is. It's not quite how I envisioned it, but I like the concept, so I'll keep it. Now onto this side, where I'll start by building a geode into this wall. Like so. In front, I'll dig out an area for a pond. But this pond is also going to be a geode, so I'll begin building that. And there we have a... that looks... Anyway, I'll just add some texture and grade the pond into the terrain. Looking good. Now I can start filling the pond. I want to make it look like the pond is being fed from this geode, so I'll place some water up the top, and there we go. That somehow looks even worse. Moving on, I'll add some water in the gap behind and a couple sea pickles to backlight the waterfall. Then I'll go round and add some amethyst clusters, as well as some more sea pickles, a couple pieces of kelp, and some water grass. There you have it, the geode pond. With that done, I'll clear some space and build a path connecting the towers. I've got a bit of space over here, so I'll build another hill, and on top I'll create another amethyst tree. I've also had this idea for amethyst planters, which is just amethyst blocks surrounded with spruce trapdoors and varying stages of amethyst clusters on top, so I'll go around and build some more of those. Area's coming together nicely. Could use some flowers though, so I'll start with some firefly bushes. Add a few groups of lilacs, peonies, alliums, pink tulips, and amethyst clusters. I'll also bone meal for some grass and add some bushes. There's a couple finishing touches I'd like to add, like amethyst in the walls. I also think the wizard towers should be covered in amethyst clusters. So there's one. And there's the second. With that, I can confidently say the magical amethyst area is complete. The only area left now is the centre. And there isn't all that much that I want to do to it, just some quality of life changes to make moving around easier. The first of which being a redesign to this bridge. I'll start with some slabs. Down the centre I'll do some dark oak log. I'll put some upside down stairs along the sides and build up some 3 high fences and connect those with slabs. Some more logs down the centre and trapdoors as an overhang. I'll run some fences along the sides with a lantern on top, and there we have a new bridge, loosely based on my ones up in the cave. Next thing I'd like to do is open up a hole here to make getting in and out easier. I'll also decorate it. There you have it. Nothing fancy, just a small entrance. The last thing I want to do is make use of these existing stairs and just continue them all the way down. I'll start digging this out. Then, around here, I'll build up some pillars of polished deep slate. Then I can make an archway across, like so. And I'll hang a soul lantern in the middle. There we go. Just gives me an easier way to get around. And I'll just repeat this again over here. Like that. And that is all I wanted to do to the centre. So we're done here. Now, despite all of that, I still need to do something about the light situation down here. Because it's all well and good using night vision potions, but when they expire, it's still this dark down here. So my idea is a pretty simple one. Glow berries across the whole ceiling. I'll build out some dirt platforms so I've got somewhere to work from, and start placing the berries. That was my last glowberry. I'm also completely out of bone meal, and I've barely started. Well, nothing else I can do about it. I need a bone meal farm. I'll go grab some redstone components, like hoppers, pistons, sticky pistons, observers, redstone comparators, redstone repeaters, and dispensers. Right, the farm I found should fit nicely here in my mine. And if I'm following these instructions correctly, I need a line of sticky pistons, some redstone, an observer facing this torch, encase it in glass, some downwards facing hoppers, a dispenser and some moss, some more redstone stuff, fill it up with water and place lava on top. And if I flick this switch, it should start. Yep, that's working alright. And as it goes, it should fill up this chest. Time to tuck myself in a corner for a while and let it stack up. Okay, it's been a few hours. Let's see how much I've got. Nearly 2 double chests. Not bad at all. Thank you to Potato Noir for the farm design. It works much better than I thought it would. Now I can produce more glowberries and get back to filling out the ceiling. That is the last area glowberried up. This has taken an astronomical amount of time, in case it wasn't immediately obvious from how long the vines are. But now I get to do it all over again, because I need to break the vines and clip the ends. With that finished, I'll start deconstructing the platforms. With all the platforms gone, it's starting to look quite impressive, but it's still too dark. My solution is pretty simple. Lanterns. They have, however, cost me all of my iron, but I'll run round lighting up the rest of the area. Okay, that's more like it. I seem to be at a point where I don't need to use night vision potions anymore. That's pretty cool. With that done, I'd like to make a better way to get down here, because I currently have to go back up there to here, where I can continue going up through this spiral staircase up into my cave, which is a real pain. So if possible, I'd like to have the entranceway built into this wall, so it would connect from here down to here, and would be lined up with the central path. So I'll get to mining. With that mined out, let's start by extending the path. We'll do the first row of stairs, pillars of deep slate brick, then I could have polished deep slate and another of bricks. Replace one of these with a lamp. Across the top, I'll do black stone, deep slate, then maybe cobbled deep slate, and repeat that. It looks a bit flat, so what if I replace these with walls? Okay, so this will be the design, and I'll just continue it all the way up. There we go. That is one long, continuous tunnel all the way up. Actually makes me feel dizzy. But now that I've finished, I do feel like it needs something else. And I think I'll take inspiration from the floor pattern I've got here. Every couple of tiled stairs can be replaced with brick stairs like that. And I'll remove every other lamp and replace them with chiseled deep slate. Lastly, some soul lanterns. So I'll make these changes the rest of the way up. That's more like it. Now I'll get started on the top side entrance. There you have it, an entrance worthy of the ancient city. All that's really left is to gather up some villagers and animals and take them down there. Okay, that's the villagers moved. Now for the animals. And there we have the animals. And I do believe, after all of that, I can finally say, we're done. And I'm finally done. This has taken me far longer than I had expected it to. If you've enjoyed this, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.